I was still holding her damn passport when I realized my wife wasn't coming back. She vanished into the taxi line at the Santorini airport, smiling, swinging her bag like it was just another romantic getaway. But what she actually did, she took my passport, my wallet, our cash, disappeared with a guy named Trevor, shirtless, broke, and the same loser she once called a spiritual idiot who can't hold a job. I checked my phone. One text. Ashley, it's not you. I just need to feel something. Trevor makes me feel alive. And then a photo. Her in a bikini, straddling him on a scooter, middle finger up to the camera. My luggage was in the background. I was stranded. In a country I'd brought her to for her dream vacation. But what she didn't know, I had a surprise waiting at the hotel. And that was the beginning of her nightmare. I stood there in the arrivals terminal, surrounded by laughing couples and happy families, with nothing but my phone in my hand and the burning sensation of betrayal crawling up my spine. I checked again. No passport. No wallet. No Ashley. Just that message. It's not you. I just need to feel something. Feel something? We spent 12 hours on a plane together. I held her hand when she panicked during turbulence. I booked this damn trip 6 months in advance, chose the exact suite she dreamed about since college. A private plunge pool, sunset view, champagne on arrival. I wanted to surprise her with rose petals, a candlelit dinner, and a vow to start fresh after a rocky few months. And now this? A bikini pic with Trevor, the jobless hippie she once mocked for living out of his car. She said he was pathetic, needy, a walking red flag. And yet, there she was, wrapped around him like he was her damn soulmate. I paced outside the terminal, lungs tight, fists clenched. My heart wasn't just broken, it was humiliated. I'd never felt this kind of heat in my face before. It wasn't just anger. It was the pure sting of being played. People walked by, laughing. Some were hugging. A little girl waved at me like I wasn't completely falling apart. And then it hit me. She thought she won. She thought she'd left me here to beg embassies for emergency documents, cry into overpriced espresso, and watch her post filtered selfies from a suite I booked with my own damn card. But Ashley didn't know one thing. The reservation? It was under my name. And I'd called the hotel 2 days earlier to ask for a discreet favor. A surprise, I said. Something she'd never forget. So I took a cab. Not to the embassy. Not to the police. To the hotel. I used a backup card she'd forgotten I had tucked in my shoe lining. 30 minutes later, I walked through the marble lobby like a ghost with a grudge. And there they were. She didn't even bother to change her clothes. Same sundress. Same smug grin. Trevor was wearing cargo shorts and sandals with socks. Of course he was. I watched from behind a column as she tried to check in. I saw her hand gesture, big, dramatic, impatient. Then I saw the receptionist tilt her head, check the computer screen, and frown. Ashley leaned in. Her mouth moved fast. The receptionist shook her head. She typed something. Showed them a printout. Ashley froze. Her eyes darted around. She pulled out her phone. Probably trying to call me. Probably realizing too late that the suite wasn't under her name. Trevor said something. She snapped at him. He looked confused. The receptionist pointed to the side desk. Gave them a key card. I followed at a distance. Down the hall. Around the corner. To room 103. A small, standard room. No view. No pool. No wine. They slammed the door shut. And I smiled. Because I knew what was inside. A note. Handwritten. Taped to the headboard. Enjoy your downgrade. Smile for the hidden camera. Trevor's wife will be watching. Yeah. Turns out Trevor wasn't just some beach bum. He had a ring-shaped tin line. And a Facebook profile full of wedding photos. His wife's name? Lindsay. And she and I had already been talking. See, Ashley wasn't just cheating. She was part of a pattern. Trevor and his wandering had a trail of destruction across 3 cities. I was just the next guy in line. But I wouldn't be the last. So I made a decision. Right there, in the hallway, outside their downgrade room. I wasn't just going to walk away. I was going to burn the fantasy she built around herself. Brick by brick. And I knew exactly where to start. By turning the camera feed on and calling Lindsay. Lindsay answered on the second ring. Her voice was low, tired, almost hollow. Did she do it to you too? I didn't even ask how she knew. I just said, room 103. They're both in there right now. She let out a bitter laugh that cracked midway. Of course. He always chooses the budget room when he's trying to hide. Then silence. Heavy, like neither of us wanted to be the first to speak next. Until I said the one thing that had been stuck in my throat since I saw that cursed text. I think I want to ruin her. Lindsay replied with the calm certainty of a woman who had already burned her own bridge. Then let's make it count. We didn't talk long. Just enough to trade what we knew. I told her about the vacation, about the stolen passport, the cash, the lies. She told me about the last two women Trevor had made feel alive. One ended up in therapy. The other disappeared off social media entirely. But Ashley, she played her part better. She didn't just cheat, she crafted it. Calculated. Cold. Planned out to the hour. My name was on the hotel. My cards were on the flights. My contacts on the itinerary. Yet somehow, I was the baggage she tossed before the fun started. I hung up with Lindsay and stared at their door for a long moment. Then I walked away. Not out of mercy, but because revenge needs room to breathe. Back in the lobby, I approached the receptionist. I didn't raise my voice. Just smiled politely and asked if I could leave a small package for room 103. She agreed, probably sensing something was off in my tone. It was an envelope, sealed with duct tape. Inside were printouts of every message I'd found between Ashley and Trevor. I'd pulled them from our shared tablet the week before the trip. I wasn't going to say anything at first. I wanted to believe I was paranoid. That the late-night laughs, the constant phone flipping, the locked bathroom doors were just stress. But deep down, I already knew. I added one more thing to the envelope. A copy of the letter I'd written her months ago. The one I was going to read to her on this trip. A letter about rebuilding trust, working on us, being better together. I crossed out the last line and wrote, in red ink. You wanted to feel something. I hope this hurts. Then I walked outside and sat across the street. Ordered a coffee. Waited. It took exactly 11 minutes. Ashley burst out of the lobby, barefoot, screaming into her phone. Her hair was a mess. Her face? That fake, flawless filter she wore so easily gone. All that was left was panic. Raw, unfiltered panic. Trevor followed behind her, shirt half on, trying to look calm and failing miserably. He tried to grab her arm. She shoved him so hard he stumbled into a planter. She turned back toward the hotel, waved her phone, and yelled something I couldn't hear. I didn't need to, because I knew what had happened. She opened the envelope. She read every word, and she saw the truth. Trevor wasn't the escape. He was the mirror, and all that reflection showed was rot. I didn't smile. I didn't cheer. I just sipped my coffee and felt the weight begin to lift. Not because she hurt, but because I didn't. Not anymore. And I wasn't finished. I stayed in that cafe for nearly an hour. Watching. Waiting. Letting her stew in the chaos she brewed for herself. Ashley was pacing in circles in front of the hotel now, flipping between screaming into her phone and death-glaring Trevor, who looked like he was already trying to Google flights out of Greece. Funny how fast a dream vacation turns into a public meltdown when the cameras are pointed the other way. I wasn't done. I walked into the hotel again, cool and casual, like I wasn't the guy who'd been left for dead just a few hours ago. The concierge recognized me and gave me that tight, nervous smile people wear when they're not sure if they're supposed to call security or offer you champagne. I leaned on the desk and said quietly, I'd like to cancel all remaining nights on room 103. Effective immediately. He hesitated. Sir, I believe the guests. They're not my guests. She's not my wife anymore. He nodded, understanding perfectly. I'll take care of it. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and could you make sure the minibar in that room stays locked? She's not great at handling reality. Back outside, Ashley was still pacing. I walked right past her. She noticed. Froze. Jason. I didn't stop walking. Jason, what the hell is going on? She jogged to catch up, grabbing at my shoulder like she had the right to touch me. Her breath smelled like hotel mimosas and desperation. I looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time in years, I didn't see the woman I married. I saw someone I didn't even recognize. She laughed, this nervous, fake giggle that used to work on me. Okay, you got me. You scared me. Congratulations. Let's go talk this out, okay? Like adults. I stared at her, silent. Jason, seriously. It was just a moment. It wasn't like. I didn't even sleep with him. She rolled her eyes as if cheating required a physical act to count. I tilted my head. Is that what you're going with? She straightened. I was confused. You've been so distant. I didn't feel wanted. Trevor, he made me feel like someone again. There it was. The excuse catalog. Always the same. Blame, deflect, minimize. I brought you to the one place you said you'd give anything to see, I said calmly. And you brought Trevor. She narrowed her eyes. Why are you doing this? You mean exposing you? I shrugged. You made your choice. I just turned the lights on. She stepped closer. So what now? You're gonna ruin me? Post videos online? Tell my parents? You think you're a saint? No, I said, stepping around her. I just think I'm finally awake. Her voice cracked as she called after me again, but I didn't turn back. I walked down the sun-drenched street, feeling nothing but wind and freedom in my chest. I still had no passport, no money, no backup plan. But for the first time since I met her, I knew exactly where I was going. Forward. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was hurt. No, the pain had numbed somewhere between the photo of her straddling Trevor and her trying to gaslight me at the hotel steps. I didn't sleep because my mind was wide awake with clarity. Sometimes when your whole life detonates, what you're left with isn't ashes. It's vision. I watched the sunrise over the Aegean from the rooftop of a budget hostel I paid for with a last resort emergency credit card Ashley didn't know about. Funny, the view was even better than the one from the suite I'd originally booked. Maybe because there was no pretending here. No lies. No rehearsed smiles. Just quiet, salty air and the first honest morning I'd had in years. I had no suitcase. No change of clothes. No toothbrush. Just a cheap coffee in a paper cup and the digital evidence of my failed marriage sitting on my phone. Trevor's wife, Lindsay, texted me that morning. Just 2 words. She's unraveling. I didn't need details. I could picture it perfectly. Ashley trying to charm her way into another room. Failing. Trevor catching on that he wasn't the upgrade. That Ashley didn't want a partner, she wanted a mirror. One that lied better than I did. I spent the next few hours mapping out everything. Canceling her access to our joint cards. Locking her out of our shared accounts. Pulling the GPS history from her car back home. Booking my embassy appointment. Writing out my statement. And I planned my return, not just back home, but back to myself. When I finally got through to the embassy, I was calm. I told them my passport had been stolen and gave a detailed account without even flinching. They were helpful. Efficient. I had a temporary document by late afternoon. Ashley didn't contact me again. No apology. No explanation. Just silence. But silence says everything. Back at the hostel, I ran into a couple from Boston who had just gotten engaged. They noticed my American accent and asked if I could take a photo of them. I did. Smiled. Told them to enjoy every second of it. Then I went back to my room, opened my notes app, and started writing down every red flag I'd ignored. The locked phone after midnight. The sudden obsession with yoga when she never cared about it before. The way she flinched when I touched her in public. The second phone I found once and she claimed was for work emergencies. The business trips she never used to take. All of it. Right there in front of me. But I kept building over the cracks like they were cosmetic. I flew back to the States 3 days later. Alone. Lighter. Angry, yes, but not at her anymore. At myself. For loving someone who didn't even respect me enough to lie well. The house was quiet when I got there. She wasn't home. Half her clothes were missing. She left a note on the fridge. We both made mistakes. I hope one day you'll understand. I crumpled it and threw it in the trash without reading the rest. Then I grabbed a beer, sat on the couch, and did something I hadn't done in months. I laughed. Because for the first time, I realized she didn't break me. She freed me. 2 days passed before she showed up again. It was just after 9 p.m. I was sitting on the back porch, scrolling through job emails on my laptop, half a beer in my hand, the dog curled up by my feet. I heard the familiar sound of her car engine before I saw the headlights pull into the driveway. She hadn't returned any of my calls since the airport. I hadn't sent many, just one, to tell her I'd filed to freeze the joint accounts. She stepped out, wearing the same oversized hoodie she used to steal from my side of the closet, trying to look pitiful. It didn't work. I'd seen the face she made when she thought no one was watching. The smirk. The calculation. That hoodie was just a costume now. I didn't get up. She walked slowly toward me, arms crossed, fake shiver in her voice. Jason, can we talk? I looked at her like she was a stranger on my lawn. Because she was. I figured you'd be in Bali with your life coach by now, I said, calmly sipping my beer. She winced. It didn't work out. I laughed once, dry and sharp. No *T. She stepped closer, eyeing the empty chair across from me. I didn't offer it. I made a mistake, she said. I leaned back. No, Ashley. A mistake is forgetting to pay the gas bill. You planned this. You packed a second suitcase and hid it in the Uber trunk. You stole my passport like a damn spy. You booked a flight for him with my credit card. She opened her mouth to deny it, then shut it again. She knew I had the receipts. Literally. I wasn't myself, she tried again. You were exactly yourself, I snapped. That's the problem. She sat on the steps instead. I was angry. I felt invisible. Because I was working 12-hour days? Paying for your yoga retreats? Covering your rent when you quit your job to find your purpose? She didn't respond. I set my beer down. You know the worst part? I said quietly. It's not even that you cheated. It's that you didn't even respect me enough to lie well. You couldn't even bother to be clever. That one landed. I saw it in her eyes. She sniffled, wiped a tear that I didn't believe for a second. I want to fix this. You can't. She looked up at me, her voice breaking. I still love you. I shook my head slowly. No, Ashley, you don't. You love the version of me who stayed quiet. Who paid? Who turned his head? Who smiled in photos and pretended not to see through your bullshit *T. Silence fell. Crickets chirped in the yard. The kind of silence that's not peaceful, but final. I stood up. I changed the locks. Your stuff's in the garage. If it's not gone by Sunday, I'm having it donated. She stood too, mouth open. You're really doing this? I stepped past her, back toward the house. You already did. And I didn't look back as I closed the door. She knocked once. Waited. Knocked again. I let the dog bark until she stopped. In the days that followed, she sent a few more texts. Apologies. Memories. Old photos with captions like, remember this? I deleted every one. Each word from her felt like a hand trying to pull me back into the fire I just crawled out of. Instead, I changed my number. I started therapy. Hit the gym. Reconnected with friends I hadn't seen since she turned every weekend into our time. I even went on a date. Just coffee. But I laughed for real. It felt like the first time in years. And every now and then, late at night, I'd think about Santorini. Not the betrayal. Not the airport. Just the moment I stood on that rooftop alone with the sun rising. That strange, painful piece of knowing I'd lost something I never really had and gained something I never thought I needed. Freedom. And I swore I'd never give it away again. 3 months passed. I didn't hear from her again, at least not directly. Friends mentioned she'd been seen around town with Trevor for a while, then alone. I didn't care enough to ask questions. I was too busy rebuilding, piece by piece. Not just my life, but myself. It's strange how quiet everything becomes after the storm. At first, it feels eerie. You keep waiting for the next crash, the next lie, the next knife between the ribs. But then you start breathing differently. Deeper. Calmer. Like your body finally realizes it's safe to relax again. I moved into a smaller place. Cozy. Simple. Clean. No echoes of her perfume in the hallway. No reminders in the closet. Just me. And peace. I found joy in routines again. Early morning runs, cooking for one, books I'd been meaning to read for years. Even rediscovered my guitar, dusted off and slightly out of tune. Playing again was like waking up a part of me that had gone silent while I was too busy surviving. And yet, I kept the envelope. The one I'd given to the hotel receptionist. The printouts. The letter. Even a screenshot of the photo she sent from the scooter. Not out of bitterness, but as a reminder. A warning. Because people like Ashley don't walk into your life wearing devil horns. They smile. They kiss you in the morning. They plan holidays. And they betray you with a smile as if you were the one who owed them an apology. I got an invitation in the mail one day. Handwritten envelope. No return address. Inside, a wedding invite. Trevor and Ashley. At first, I thought it was a joke. But no, it was real. Destination wedding. Caribbean. I laughed harder than I had in months. I didn't RSVP. I didn't burn it. I framed it. Hung it in the bathroom. Right above the toilet. 2 weeks later, Lindsay messaged me. Said Trevor had bailed on Ashley during their pre-wedding trip. Hooked up with a bartender. Classic. Ashley called off the wedding. Or maybe it was called off for her. Either way, she was back. Alone. Posting quotes about healing and finding inner peace between bikini pics and sponsored herbal cleanse ads. It was almost sad. Almost. One night, I got another text from an unknown number. Ashley, do you ever miss me? I stared at it for a moment. Then I replied. Me. I miss the version of me who didn't know what you were. Blocked the number right after. The next day, I got up early, laced my running shoes, and hit the pavement. The sky was pink with morning, the streets still quiet. No drama. No noise. Just the steady rhythm of breath and footfalls and the solid, silent truth I finally accepted. She didn't destroy me. She revealed me. And the man I am now? He'd never opened the door to someone like her again. 6 months later, I found myself standing at the edge of a cliff in Big Sur, wind ripping through my jacket, waves crashing below like thunder. I was alone. No Ashley. No past chasing at my heels. Just me, the ocean, and the silence I once thought I'd never be comfortable with. And I smiled. Not because I won. Not because she lost. But because I made it through the kind of betrayal that shatters some people beyond repair, and I came out stronger. Sharper. Unapologetically honest with myself. People think heartbreak is loud. They imagine screaming matches, broken plates, dramatic exits. But the real damage? It's quiet. It's in the way you doubt yourself months later, in the way you flinch at kindness, or the way you read into every silence like it's a warning sign. But healing? Healing is louder than you think. It's in how you laugh again, how you sleep through the night, how you walk past her favorite restaurant without needing to look inside, how you delete old playlists without feeling anything. It's in not responding when she tries to sneak back into your life like nothing happened. It's in choosing peace over closure, in realizing you don't need an apology to move forward. I went home from that trip with no photos, no souvenirs, just clarity. I changed my number for good. Started dating again, not to fill a void, but to share space with someone without fear. And if love comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I'm still whole. To anyone out there reading this, feeling the sting of betrayal still fresh, you will get through this, not by forgetting what they did, but by remembering who you are. Love isn't supposed to feel like walking on eggshells. It's supposed to feel like home. And now, I finally feel home inside my own damn skin. Let her chase whatever version of alive she thinks she needs. I'm already living.